About 2,500 years ago, in a place in northern India that today is called Bodh Gaya, a young prince by the name of Gautama Siddhartha attained enlightenment. Absorbed in deep meditation, he realized the truth of suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. From then on, he was called Buddha, the awakened one. Buddha turned the wheel of Dharma 3 times: Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. And thus, in the following centuries, his teachings spread all over Asia, and in the 9th century also reached Tibet. It was the Indian master Padmasambhava who brought the Dharma over the Himalaya and predicted the coming of the Karmapas. Here, on the roof of the world, especially the Vajrayana teachings with their tantric techniques flourished and led countless masters to liberation. The teachings were passed on from master to student in an unbroken chain, and thus several lineages formed. The famous yogis of the Karmapa lineage are Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Gangpopa, and since the 11th century, the Karmapas.
The word Karmapa is a combination of Sanskrit and Tibetan. Karma is Sanskrit, Pa is Tibetan. So, karma means activity, and Karmapa is the manifestation of Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, to fulfill the activities of the Buddha. So he represents Buddha. He is incarnation of the Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva.
Karmapa was the first Tulku of Tibet, a master who intentionally takes rebirth to carry on his mission across lifetimes.
One of the outstanding activity of the first Java Karmapa is he prophesied where he is going to be born next life. And then according to that, the second Java Karmapa was discovered, and the second Java Karmapa continued the activities of the first Java Karmapa. So that way, in Vajrayana Buddhism, the reincarnation Tulku precedent is started by Java Karmapa.
Unique among the thousands of subsequent lines of Tulkus, the Karmapas are recognized on the basis of a prediction letter written by the Karmapa himself, describing the details of the next rebirth. In this way, all incarnations since the first Karmapa were discovered. His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, Ranjin Rigpe Dorje, was born in Tibet 1924. In 1959, when the Chinese invaded Tibet, he left the roof of the world with more than 100 followers and founded a new seat in India, Rumtek Monastery. Karmapa was instrumental in bringing Buddhism to the Western world. Not only did he send great masters like Akong Rinpoche and Chogyam Trungpa there, he himself visited and taught in Europe and the US. Following the 16th Karmapa's death in 1981, the search began immediately for the sacred prediction letter. But even before it was found, His Holiness the Dalai Lama had a prophetic vision of the next Karmapa's birthplace.
I got some kind of one dream. The location, the area where you see the present is the Karmapa is born. One valley is naturally the stones and the lawns looks as a high altitude, and then facing the south, and there's some stream, small, beautiful streams. And that is the main sort of the picture. There was someone there and told me, actually, without this form, there's someone, some source, you see, they telling to me, oh, this is the place where Karmapa is born.
Years had passed, and still no letter had been found, until one day Tai Situ Rinpoche, one of the 4 lineage holders, recalled a protection amulet given to him by the 16th Karmapa with the words, "This will protect you and someday be useful."
Late His Holiness gave me this protection pouch in early January 1981. And one day it was snake here. I opened that and I found an envelope. And the envelope have red ink letter saying that this should be opened in the Iron Horse year. And then I was very, very happy.
The letter described the location where the new incarnation was born, the nomadic livelihood of the people there, the year of birth, and the names of the parents. As predicted, a child was born in a nomadic community in the Latok region of eastern Tibet, born in the year 1985 to parents named Dundrup and Lolaga. His parents and neighbors reported that following his birth, a wide-ranging sound of a conch shell resounded for about an hour with no apparent source. This and other wondrous signs convinced the people in the area that this child was a very special one. On June 9, 1992, Situ Rinpoche and Gyaltsab Rinpoche informed His Holiness the Dalai Lama about the details of the discovery of the 17th Karmapa. On June 30th, His Holiness granted the official letter with his seal of confirmation, the Buktan Rinpoche, stating,
"The boy born to Karma Dundrup and Loga in the wood ox year of the Tibetan calendar identifies with the prediction letter left by the previous Karmapa and is hereby recognized as the reincarnation of the 16th Karmapa."
His Holiness the 17th Gyalvan Karmapa, Ojun Drodul Trinley Dorje, was formally enthroned at Tsurpu Monastery, the original seat of the Karmapa in Tibet, on September 27, 1992. Two days later, the 7-year-old performed his first ceremony, the empowerment of Avalokiteshvara, received by an assembly of over 20,000 people. Karmapa's return brought new life to Tsurpo. The monastery had almost been completely destroyed by the Chinese. In 1985, renovations began under the guidance of Drupon Dechen Rinpoche. Karmapa grew up and received the traditional teachings that would prepare him to fulfill his role. However, the most important empowerments, transmissions, and instructions of his Karma Kaji tradition he could only receive from the main disciples of the previous Karmapa, who resided in India. And thus, in his early teens, the Karmapa laid plans for a bold escape from Tibet. Exactly at the turn of the century, the 14-year-old Karmapa eluded his guards and set off on an epic journey across the Himalaya.
On December 28, 1999, under the cover of a dark night, my senior attendant and I escaped from my monastery in Tibet and fled to India to seek refuge. After an arduous 8-day journey, we arrived at last in Dharamsala early on the morning of January 5, 2000. I went straight to meet His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the very embodiment of compassion, and he received me with his great love and affection. My joy knew no bounds.
His Holiness received refugee status from the government of India in 2001 and presently resides in Gyuto Tantric College outside Dharamsala. Since arriving in India, Karmapa has maintained a rigorous schedule of Buddhist studies and has received the essential transmissions of his lineage. He also takes lessons in English, Korean, and Hindi and joined His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the Mind and Life conferences, a dialogue between Western sciences and Buddhist studies. 2006 he celebrates his 21st birthday with a large assembly of friends and followers from around the world. 2008 he embarks on his first journey to the West and visits the United States, where he is enthusiastically received. On his second journey to America in 2011, he participates in the Kala Chakra initiation, conducted by His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Washington, D.C. In the summer 2014, Karmapa visits Europe for the first time. Every year he presides over the Kaji Mönlam Chemno, the great aspiration prayer festival in Bodh Gaya. And so it is that in the very place where Buddha attained enlightenment 2,500 years ago, the activities of the Buddha continue. Karmapa uses the Mönlam to bring significant reforms to his own Karmakaji lineage, for instance in respect to equal education for nuns in the monastic training. But he also addresses many universal topics in public talks, in webcasts across the internet, and in the books he has published. Out of compassion for animals, he tirelessly encourages vegetarianism, and he sees environmental protection and social activism as synonymous with Dharma practice. He looks deeply into the complex confusions of this modern age and offers solutions as to how we can all work together to make this world a better place. Because the future is now.
예스물이야들이 진제동원에 대해 지지단기 가르쳐야지 제대로 장화로부터 아니지 최소기로와 최소 토네 장화한테 최소 토는 영어되게 하래. 인빈행에 개치슈디 안타지기 지 두름 있어지 반나야 렙데베 까만 붙이면은 셰비네 개치슈디 낭든 최이비네 디 나바 사바 체체 두르다 그 지조다 참바 토네 에너지 가르쳐 가르쳐야지 최기 지 가르쳐 넘버 사브지다 넘주 사브지다 디펜도 그 가르쳐 베게 세브지 뒤름 디밀에 펜도 세브지 대화디 랭게 체르 차딩면서